Former Baltimore Ravens, Las Vegas Raiders, and New York Giants tight end Darren Waller has announced that he is going to be retiring from the NFL after 8 seasons. Now, for Darren Waller, back in the 2015 NFL draft, he was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 6th round, and part of the reason he fell in the draft, it was because some of the off-the-field things that he was going through, and he didn't really get an opportunity to play with the Baltimore Ravens, partly because they have an all-pro tight end in Mark Andrews. And it wasn't until he was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders when he really started to have a breakout opportunity. And during his time with the Raiders, at one point he was considered, worst case scenario, a top 5 tight end in the NFL. And some would make the argument he was a top 3 tight end in the NFL at one point. But towards the latter part of his career with the Raiders, largely due to injuries, his production took a little bit of a dip, and he was missing a lot of time with the Raiders, and as a result, he was traded to the New York Giants this past season. And with the Giants, he didn't really quite have the impact that he did with the Raiders, partly because he wasn't quite the same player that he was when he was with the Raiders. Now, during his time in the NFL as a whole, Darren Waller was a mismatch and the matchup nightmare for for linebackers and safeties. Being 6'6" and almost 250 pounds, that's a pretty tough cover for any defensive player in the NFL. Now, with Darren Waller, he's also, as far as off-the-field stuff, he's working on some music endeavors, and it'll be interesting to see if that is what he plans to pursue long-term. Now, we've seen this with other NFL players, former Steelers and Jets running back, and technically Baltimore Ravens running back Le'Veon Bell did some music during his time in the NFL, and that's something that he's pursuing full-time now as well. So it's interesting to see sometimes what NFL players do in their career post-football. And with a lot of football players, in this case with Darren Waller, usually with football players, they try to play 10 seasons, but with some players, they have other passions and other things that they want to pursue in their life. And I think with Darren Waller, that might be the case. Now, I want to hear from football fans in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on Darren Waller's decision to retire from the NFL? And do you think it was the right decision? Or do you think he still had some more to give to the game of football?